It's time for Boost, Booze, and Barbecue. Hello and welcome to Boost, Booze, and Barbecue! How you doing, Coy?
I'm doing great, man. How you doing?
Doing good, buddy. Doing real good. Good to see you. Good to be alive in this amazing time that we're in.
Yeah.
So we're starting off with, well, first of all, we've got some special guests that are going to be popping by. As a matter of fact, he's probably waiting for me to send him a text letting him know that he can call in. So I'm going to do that real quick.
Oh, good. I'm glad you could take care of that before the show started. Yeah, don't worry about it.
Well, so I was sitting here thinking to myself, why? Shouldn't they be calling in by now? But yeah, we'll let him know. Nick, what is going on that separate screen there? Everything looks good, huh? All right, cool. Well, Coy, we have got something that I have not had in a long, long time. We have tequila today. Normally, I don't do tequila, mostly because I can't do tequila, you guys. I'm dead serious. I cannot do tequila normally because I had an experience.
Yeah. I was with you.
Yeah.
During that experience.
Coy was the cause of the experience.
I was there. I don't see how I'm the cause of it.
Really?
I mean, I can tell the story. The real story, how it actually happened.
It's going to be about half true, but no, I want to hear it.
Well, I'll tell my story, and then you just tell me where I went wrong. But we were at one of your wife's friend's house for a New Year's party, and we had a lot of booze there, and we were drinking. And at some point, the girls were kind of settling down, and I walked up, and I had a big bottle of Bacardi Limon. And I said, "Check this out." And I took the cap off, and then I chugged, I don't know, a third of the bottle. A sizable portion of Bacardi Limon.
He appeared to chug.
Appeared. Okay, and then you looked at me and said, "Oh, really? Check this out." And you grabbed a thing of Jose Cuervo Gold, and you chugged, I don't know, a third of the bottle. And I said, "Oh, that ain't nothing. Watch this." And then I chugged some more, and then we just went back and forth for about 5 minutes.
Wasn't this at a SmackDown event?
No, this was at it was a New Year's party at Stephanie's house. One of your wife's fellow chiropractors. And you got pretty sick over it. Yeah. But it was okay because while you were in that while you were rolling blankish tape, fuzzy tape, so 48 minutes after that, you said, "Dude, check this out. This is called a mudslide. It's like a milkshake." And I was like, yeah. All I drank that night was Bacardi Limon and tequila. And then I basically drank a tall glass of cold milk.
Yeah.
About 30 seconds after I drank that, I was like, this feels really weird. Whatever is happening inside my body right now feels unnatural. And I think that was milk curdling.
Yeah.
And so I went outside with my tequila, my Bacardi Limon, the Mongolian grill I'd had earlier that night, and one Kahlua mudslide, and I evacuated the contents of my stomach for a few minutes.
Well, so why were you able to do that and keep drinking tequila? And I nearly got alcohol poisoning, and now I can't drink tequila. This is not.
I haven't drank tequila since then either. Like not.
This is not the incident that I was talking about, by the way. We were at a car event, and you had the cheapest. You had this tequila that you would only bust out because you thought it was funny to make people taste it, and it tasted like, I don't know, burnt dog hair. Like it was just.
It was Jose Cuervo Gold.
That was not Jose Cuervo Gold.
Jose Cuervo Gold is the worst tequila there is.
Whatever it was literally. It ruined my life. It ruined my life, Coy. You understand?
I don't drink. I have a problem drinking tequila ever since the moment I just talked about.
Well, so I'll be curious to see what you think about this. Folks, the incident that I'm talking about, Coy obviously doesn't want to get into it, but we were at a race event, and Coy was pretending to do shots. It's something that he likes to do, where either he'll just keep his mouth closed, so he'll tip the bottle up, and it looks like he's chugging, but he's not, and you're already too drunk to tell, or he'll bring you shots, and he'll do the little, oh, man, good, do your shot, come on, do your shot. And eventually, when you are rolling blank tape, that's when he'll start pretending to chug out of the bottle. He'll be like, all right, it's your turn. We'll just remove the cap first. And I would say about 45 minutes later, I put out a campfire with my vomit.
That was not just me at that time. I know exactly what you're talking about.
It was a few other people.
Yeah, I was not faking drunkenness at that point, because I was straight hammered.
We were all straight hammered, but I was rolling the aforementioned blank tape.
Yeah. No, you were just straight. It was one of the best vomits I've ever seen.
Yeah. And one of our other a-hole buddies have been following me around the entire night going, hey, watch this. Waiting for me to throw up, and then he'd be like, oh, well, I guess he's not quite ready yet. But he finally, apparently, people tell me that he finally hit it on the head, and he's like, oh, watch this. And it was right when I vomited. But since he'd been following me around for an hour prior doing that, at the back of my head, it had less meaning to me.
So what was so amazing about this vomit is, you know how when somebody doesn't feel good and they kind of put their hands on their hips and their back's real straight and they're leaned back, they're just like, and they're kind of looking to the sky and
praying for a miracle.
Yeah, they're just like, please let me die. Like they just, you know, at that point they're either going to puke and crawl around on the ground, or they're just going to fall backwards.
Yep.
Except for Andy he's the only person I've ever seen do this. Most people, when they get ready to puke, bend over. He was just standing there, straight back, hands on his hip, and he just went, and he just opened his mouth like he was shouting, and just, it just like, it was incredible. It would be like how a cartoon character would puke, like a Family Guy puke.
And I didn't get any on myself. Like, that's how projectile it was.
It was that intense that it shot out and landed on a campfire, completely put it out, and created the most horrible smell I have ever smelled.
Yeah. Since then, tequila just ain't even on my radar. But what happened yesterday was Corianne and a friend of hers, Andrea, they decided that they wanted to do some strawberry action. Okay, so they made strawberry jam, strawberry jelly, strawberry syrup. They made some strawberry salsa. We had grilled strawberries, and of course, we had to make margaritas and daiquiris, because that's what you do when you have a bunch of strawberries. Coy, not a fan of strawberries, so we're leaving the strawberry out of this one. But went to the liquor store, started looking around at tequila. I didn't want to get anything super expensive, because I knew the girls were just going to get trashed on strawberry-flavored, drinkies. But I did find this Tequila Corazon. It is an añejo, which means it is aged in oak barrels. So the weird thing about the Silver, the Blanco, the Reposado, and the añejo, they all seem like, I mean, I'm sure that there's some technical definition, like it needs to be aged a certain amount in oak barrels and stuff like that. And that's what all this means.
Yeah.
But I couldn't see a lot of correlation. Like this bottle, for example, says that it's been aged 16 to 18 months. So yeah, at least a year. Oh, perfect. Yeah, go ahead and bring them on. So this stuff is kind of higher end, I guess you might say. It's a single estate tequila. It's not bad. Not bad at all, actually. It tastes pretty good. Came in at $30. It was on sale. And I'm curious what you're going to think.
You know, and the other interesting thing about tequila, like it is highly, highly monitored about what you put on the bottle. Like if you're going to make tequila, it has to come with specific kind of agave. It has to come from specific counties in Mexico. If you make it outside of those counties, it's not tequila.
Yeah, it's mezcal.
Yeah, like, and it's kind of like, you wouldn't think, since it's like a Mexican hard alcohol, but I mean, it's like the French wines and stuff and different things like that, where you can only call it champagne if it comes from, certain place in France and so on and so forth. Here, I'm going to get in on this.
Yeah, give it a taste. Try it again.
Yeah, it tastes like tequila.
But does it taste bad?
As a general rule of thumb, I don't care for tequila, but I'm not going to say it tastes bad. It is a fairly smooth tequila.
Is it palatable?
Yeah, it's palatable.
Considering you're not a tequila fan after that night.
For me right now, I'm going to say this is a 7 out of 10.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty high
tequilas.
praise.
Yeah. And mostly I will go with a silver or a clear tequila. If I'm going to go with one, I prefer a clear.
Sure.
Kind of not Patron in particular, but that vein.
Well, let me tell you something, Coy. When I go with a car guy, this was not a good segue. If I'm going to go with car people, I want them to be absolutely nuts. And I feel like that's exactly what we have here today. Joining us are the fellows from Dog Strip. How are we doing, boys?
Doing good. Yourself?
Doing very well, my friend. Thank you for joining us. It seemed probably pretty random. I was looking at videos about, how to mount ATV tires onto Festiva wheels. And your guys' video came up, and I was like, holy smokes, their production value is good, like really good. And I started scrolling through some of your different projects that you did, and I was like, wow, we have got to talk to these guys on the show. So would you mind just quickly giving an introduction for the folks listening?
Oh, boy, self-flattery. So, yeah, first of all, thank you for the flattery, and it's a pleasure to be on a show. Our first ever. Basically, we're just a bunch of car nuts, car guys. We like doing silly things, and then at the same time, we started getting cameras involved. Like your little handheld Casio 10-year-old cameras, and then GoPros, and from there. So
crayons.
You can hear both of us good?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. You sound great, fellas.
Awesome.
Thank you.
More flattery. So again, what we do is basically, it all kind of started with Demolition Derby about a decade ago. Getting old cars, beating on them, and having fun. But after a while, like long-term health effects, I don't want to do that so long. So we started getting silly. I think the Festiva was the first project we actually did.
I think so, yeah. Actually, yes, it was.
Yeah. And from there, it started like, let's be silly. We both got a mechanical background, and we tinker. But like actual racing and restorations were just long-term and monotonous and boring. So you go on Craigslist, you find a $100 car, you cut it in half, you glue it back together, and you have fun with it. And to be honest, we are expecting it to be taken away from us long ago.
Mm-hmm. And just in case any police force or Department of Transportation is listening, we are completely joking. All of our vehicles have been tested and are completely safe.
Yep.
Yes. Approved by all local municipalities. I got you.
Yeah. Yes.
Professional driver on a closed
course. Lo and
course.
behold, I think it's like 6 years later, and our Festiva, our hamster, is still over there.
I do love the hamster. What in the world possessed you guys to chop a Festiva?
Alcohol.
It's pointing at a glass of alcohol.
Poor decisions are very easily manipulated. To be honest, there was an old show. I think it was Jesse James' Monster Garage, and they took a Festiva. Pardon?
Not that old. Come on. I watched that from beginning to end.
Okay, you're my people. Good. Well, I remember that one episode, and they took a Festiva. They did almost the same thing. They chopped it in half, but they kept the roof. And then they put giant Ferris wheels on it. And it drove like a hamster in a cart. And I thought, that is awesome. That's ridiculous. And at the same time, we're huge fans of the roll golf.
You are a huge fan.
I love that thing so much.
It's terrifying.
The roll golf
Yeah,
is from Holland, I think it is. And again, they took a Volkswagen Golf, chopped it in half, same thing, super shorty, kept the roof. He's sitting in the back seat. He made it all-wheel drive from a Passat or something. And then it's on it has an external cage, like a loop, a half loop above it. So it's super short. He has it jacked up. You accelerate, you jam on the brakes, and this thing does a roll. like straightforward, bounces on its wheels and carries on. It's the goofiest, silliest thing.
There's a 3-wheeler version of that that's made its round.
Oh, good.
Yeah. At which it's even more incredible because you got to hold on, it's, before you, so you don't get your head crushed. But I know exactly what you're talking about.
Awesome. Yeah, death is bad. I have a severe allergy to death. I tend to avoid it.
Yeah.
Insurance policies.
So at the same time, these monstrosities were gimmicks. They were one of toys, and they were meant to look funny on a camera and get their laughs. And I'm sure they were never seen again. The roll golf was around for a long time. But anyways, we wanted something that we could drive on the street. We could go on road trips, and we slowly got braver as time went on. This car, I still remember the first time we ever took out the hamster. It was like 45-minute drive on the highway to a swap meet, and we were terrified. We weren't thinking we were coming home with the car because vehicle inspections around here are strict.
Where exactly are you guys at?
We are in British Columbia, Canada.
Okay.
We should not say the exact town, just in case.
Yes, the secret dog strip location.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just in case you're being watched by the Department of Transportation.
I go through this all the time over on Ryan Lackner's show, Clutch Gate Radio. People are like, "Oh yeah, no, I went street drifting down at right on this intersection. That corner, that place that we always used to go, and people still do. You show up at midnight. That's when we always gather, and you have to be like, whoop, up, 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 up.
So just undisclosed location, Western Canada.
There you go.
Yeah, we zoom into a bunch of trees and some Army helicopters landing in a waterfall or something. Yeah,
with a route into Mexico.
Between the Moose Nest and the Beaver Dams, that's our
right next to the
compound.
maple syrup farm.
Moose Nest and Beaver's Dams. That sounds like.
That
sounds like a Canadian strip club. I'm just throwing that out there.
I was saying a moose nest, or it sounds
Have
like.
you seen my act?
We promise not to bring that up.
I mean, you do have a tuxedo T-shirt on, so.
Stop talking about your moose strip.
This is the Washington Gambler T-shirt, which is my second skin.
Well, so it's funny you mentioned the Washington Gambler because we have a video pulled up from your YouTube channel. I'm actually going to ask producer Nick to pull that up. You guys should be able to see it too. I think he's kind of working some miracles out here.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, we just worked on this today, Coy.
I saw a Gambler car on the way here.
Really?
It was a stretch, I think, Lincoln or Cadillac limousine.
The owner of Conversion Brewing is who owns that.
Oh, really? Well, he had it on, I want to say, 38s. I mean, it's lifted. It's a massive limousine. And then he had 2 or 3, like, sand bikes on the top and a trailer towing a bunch of quads and stuff. Like, clearly going to the dunes.
Nice.
I think I know the name of that. What's it called?
It's kind of black or dark brown.
Yeah. What's it called when you're not enough of a man?
Compensating. Compensator.
Yes, I think it's
Compensator,
the
yes.
SS compensation.
Yes, that's it. Which is, I wish I had thought of that. That's such a good name.
That is not the one that the owner of Conversion Brewing owns. He has a white one.
Oh, this one was a dark color.
What about yeah. If we could find a cheap enough hearse, I'd want to go that way. But it's not even for the fact that it's a hearse. It's the fact that I could fit like a air mattress in the back, and I wouldn't have to be out in the wilderness camping with you guys.
We have one.
Well, you do have a hearse. Yeah. I don't think we've done anything with the hearse.
It's not worth doing anything with. It's garbage.
Yeah.
That's fair enough. All right, producer Nick, we got a video from. Look at that! That chop down Festiva is what you guys were running, right?
Yep. She's done a couple gamblers. How many?
19,433.
It's done the Washington twice and the BC once.
I was always drunk. I don't remember.
Man, you guys got 3 gamblers out of that thing.
And hopefully many more.
Yeah.
It's just adorable.
It is hilarious to me looking at that thing. You guys listening on the podcast, we're just watching some footage that they shot of the Washington Gambler, and this chop down Festiva is hilarious.
Is it just me, or with the way you have that roof on top, it has like a little bit of a like Suzuki Sidekick thing going on when I first glance at it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like
Yeah.
people see it on the side of the road. They're like, "Oh, nice tracker."
Yeah, exactly. I was like, wait, what? Oh, nope.
It's when we built it, it was no like knowledge involved. It was basically just like, okay, I can sit this far back, and my legs, being 6'2", can still comfortably fit. And we're sitting where the back seat used to be, so we're now like 6 inches higher than standard. So we couldn't keep the roof. We also chose that we didn't want to die, so it's got a bit of a cage. Pardon me. Not by any regulation.
No, but just something to kind of get you by.
And to structurally hold the car together.
Yeah, no, you want to.
There's also this. Yes.
You want to die in spite of having a cage, not because you didn't have a cage.
Yeah.
I agree and disagree with that.
Because you like the hamster, right?
I like the hamster with the exception of 2 points. Yes, you're 6'2", I'm 5'10". So you can step into the car. I stretch into the car and hope not to gain an octave in my voice. Number 2, there's no side windows. Yeah. So when it's cold or when it's raining, you have no protection from the elements. Because we took the hamster ice racing. And I remember leaving the house at 5 a.m. and it was like minus 20 degrees Celsius, which is minus 4 million Fahrenheit, I guess. Yeah. For a 2-hour drive, I think.
Yeah, you divide that by the power of 6 cos.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the hamster with the exception of I get cold.
Yeah.
So I'm going to throw a pro tip at you because before the Gambler was a thing, me and a buddy used to run in we called it the Converted because it was an 86 Camry that we did something similar with where the roof was gone. We just had the windshield and just a little strip above the doors that we could still had enough gutter to mount a rack to. Then we'd strap our surfboards on top of that, and we're in Oregon. So if you're surfing in Oregon, you got to wear a wetsuit. We'd put our wetsuits on before we left the house, jump in this thing, it'd be pouring down rain, but you'd be toasty warm because you're wearing a full wetsuit.
And you better believe he is peeing in that thing constantly.
Yeah. Dude, and that's the thing, is like you get in the water, you pee in your wetsuit, kind of warms you up, whatever. If you're in a trash car, you don't have to wait till you get to the water, You just let it rip.
It's funny though, like all these vehicles to us started as trash cars, and as we built them and went on like some amazing adventures, we've grown attached to them. Like the hamster, like I don't ever want to get rid of that thing.
No, we have a lot of people wanting it.
Oh yeah, it's slowly like disintegrating.
Well, I'm not sure you can legally sell it.
Oh, you can sell anything you want. At least
sure.
here.
You're just going to get an attempted murder or manslaughter eventually.
At least negligent homicide.
Yeah.
So have people made you offers on this? Because that was something that would happen to us when we were driving around in the Converted. It's just people pull up and be like, hey, how much do you want to sell that thing for?
Oh yeah, the hamster.
We've had people chase us down.
Oh yeah, we were yard sailing a couple of years ago, and this one guy was just stalking us for an hour. How much? No, zoom, and see him at the next block. How much? Leave me alone. Zoom.
Yeah, no, that went on to us kind of scary.
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
So, fellas, we actually have another video of the hamster that I wanted to pull up real quick. It's the one where you mount and run the ATV tires. This is the video that actually got me into your YouTube channel. So I'm wanting to show people like the level of insanity we have here.
This is an early one. She didn't have the bumper yet. This again.
Producer Nick, be sure to show the first part too.
She has no.
This is old for us.
Yeah.
But I love it. Watch this, Koi. They're mounting the tires on the rims. That is classic.
Yep.
Did you use lighter fluid or ether?
Yes.
Yeah.
Whatever it was effective. I think it was starting fluid.
I think it was my scotch.
It's a waste.
Yeah.
Here's the deal, man. The reason why I was looking for that in particular, what you guys did, is because our producer, Nick, who we love absolutely to death. As a matter of fact, go ahead and get on the mic there, Nick.
Hello, Nick.
Hello.
Hey, Nick. Hey, how's it going?
He has a 1991, right?
1990.
1990 Ford Festiva. And so it is the fuel injected, so it's the hot rod.
Nice, yeah.
And
as is ours.
yes. And I had been looking around at the ATV or UTV tires, and I was like, are these going to fit or not? I couldn't find any info about them. And, on the Festiva pages, I'm sure you guys are on FordFestiva.com. It's like the premier Festiva site. I can't believe there's a premier Festiva site, but there, I said it.
Yes,
and there was someone who commented on somebody else's thing, and then somebody replied to their comment with a link to your video, and that's how I found it. And I was just like, boom, this is exactly what I was looking for. You just popped a UTV tire onto the factory wheel, and guess what? It looks fine. Although I think you guys have a little bit of a lift or something, don't you, or no?
Yes, we do. It wasn't necessary at first. So there's a bunch of different ATV tires. These are 8-inch
I like the mustache, by the way. Sorry to interrupt, but I'm just seeing you with the mustache, and I like it.
Oh, God, yeah.
Super Canadian.
That was an employment requirement. We'll just put it that way.
Oh, yeah.
But
Are you a firefighter?
So the ATV tires, there's a bunch of different heights: 26, 25, 24s. They're 8-inch wides. These are typically the front-wheel drive ATV tires. We started out in this particular video with 26s, just something we found in town for as cheap as possible. And they rubbed badly.
Yeah.
And melted down.
Yeah, they did.
Oh,
yeah.
that stank.
Yeah.
The strut towers they were rubbing on, and the car was gutless. The car is fuel injected, but it's not healthy by any means. It's got something like 400,000 kilometers on it. Ooh, pardon me. But we started like, oh, this was a good run. Let's get something better. And we found, I think, 24s. And they fit factory-wise really well. We rolled the fenders a bit. But then we mounted, in the later videos, we've got a giant bush bumper. In gambler total in essence. But the bumper also weighed 200 pounds.
Yep. Which
brought the front end down, and now there was rubbing. So we ended up putting in struts from an 88 Mercury Tracer.
Was it a Tracer?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like a Mazda 323.
Okay.
It's a really rare car. But
well, at least
they built it in.
Ultra rare.
Ultra rare.
Well, in Canada, Coy.
Desirable. Yeah. No.
Yeah. If it was a Pokemon card, you could sell it for like $12.
Yeah. But the nice thing was, the Tracer was the car that had the 1.6 liter that you can mount in a Festiva.
Yes.
Fuel injected. And that motor is in our double-ended Festiva.
Ooh. Yeah. The double-ended Festiva. We're going to get into all that, I have no doubt. Yeah, like I said, Coy, these guys are insane. And not just because they're Canadian.
Mostly big Canadian.
Yeah, so fun fact about me, boys. I used to have a 1.8 Turbo Festiva.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Was that a fun car, Coy?
When he says Turbo Festiva, everybody thinks like a JDM takeout. We're talking like no headlight, dinner plate sized, giant, like fully built Turbo Festiva.
Okay.
Like race sport bikes Turbo Festiva.
Yeah,
it was pretty
400
ridiculous.
Horsepower Festiva.
Like scary to drive in the rain. Festiva.
Wow.
Like, yeah, it was nasty. And
again, don't get over impressed. We just do silly things with what cars we can get our hands on.
And don't cost $6,000.
Exactly. But yeah, the Festivas are cheap. Everything else just starts dirt cheap, and then we see what we can do with it. Anyone that builds anything,
hate us.
Yeah, but I respect their desire and the effort they put into things, and I try not to bash anyone. I could certainly laugh at a silly outcome, but as long as you had fun and learned along the way, good on them.
Well, that's the thing, but yeah, we have fun. But let's face it, we do have people who absolutely hate us, from everything from chopping a van to chopping a Festiva, etc., etc. So we have people who like us, but we equally have probably 10 times more people who despise us.
But boys, that's the irony of this whole thing. If you had a rich parent that was bankrolling this whole thing, you would be killing it right now. You'd be the new Donut Media.
Yeah, we're just we're having fun with what we're
Yeah,
doing.
I mean,
Here, let me see if I can. I'm going to do a little donut media thing here. You ready for this? Here, producer Nick, can you do kind of the close up on me?
Donut.
I need a hat. Well, it's okay. Just imagine I had some weird hat that was like not on my head right. Okay. Here, I'll adjust my headphones so it looks stupid.
But right now, all we can see is our video, actually. We cannot see you.
Yo, the Ford Festiva. It's probably the greatest car ever made. Doesn't get its dues. But today, on Donut Media, we're going to be going in depth into the Ford Festiva and why it's the greatest car that's ever been built. What do you think? How was that?
I think we've had conversations with such people.
I'm gonna
That was
be honest,
bang
if
on.
You just
Yeah,
tweak
actually,
that a
it
little
was.
bit. It could be Donald Trump talking about Ford Festivas.
Oh my
Listen. I'm not saying anything against the Ford Escort. Lord knows I love my Escorts.
But I've heard.
The Mercury Tracer, okay, might be the best car ever built. However, the Ford Festiva, it will always have a special place in the hearts of America. That is America's car. It was built here in America, only in America. It cannot be found anywhere else. And it is the greatest car to ever not come from China. Okay?
We're going to get banned from the United States after this, you know.
Yeah.
Okay.
It needs a time to cool down.
Yeah.
Still burning.
So, we've said
Part out.
All right. How badly do you guys want to switch to a different topic?
Carry on. Have at it.
they're Canadian. They'll talk all the trash they want about Trump.
Well, true.
No.
Hey, do we
will.
have that double-headed Festiva pulled up, though? Oh, yes, son.
Is this double-headed? Because I would call it double-ended.
Yeah, I was
Bit of
thinking the
both.
same thing. Double-ended, I think something else.
I know it's something else, but that's why I would call it that.
Oh, yeah, the double-ender. So what's the story with this thing? Is it two motors?
Oh yeah, it's again, when you have one Festiva, you tend to gather as many as you can just for parts and good deals you can't refuse.
That's
This is
true.
also true.
And so we had these two Festivas taking up driveway space for about 2 years. And we put the 1.6 liter into one of them, and it was going to be a dirt track car. And our schedule just didn't work for the local track, and this car sat untouched for 2 years. And I didn't know what to do with the second one, so we just cut the two cars in half, kind of zigzag. Both drivers have the full driver's door, and then you're kind of sitting side by side. We didn't want the car to be too long, so we kind of zigzagged it, and we can talk to each other when we're driving.
Oh,
So it's the front end of two Festivas, cut in half, 2 engines, 2 transmissions, 2 steering wheels, and a pretty substantial cage to keep it all safe.
So now I have an all-new impression of you. Not that way, idiot! The other way!
Oh yes, without being too embarrassing,
oh, no, please.
this one here didn't drive standard.
I don't drive standard.
Yeah.
I did not drive standard until this race,
So we had literally 2 minutes of practice time in the parking lot.
which was entertaining.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then it's like, all right, let's go and again, this car was built for full contact figure 8 racing. And yes, there was literally a lot of screaming, like left, right, and as soon as one end would stall, it'd be like, all right, your turn, my turn. And the car had bald 12-inch tires going through mud.
Yeah.
And it wasn't fast. It was twice the weight of every other car out there. And it wasn't competitive by any means. But the crowd loved it, and it was just awesome.
It looks
so
like
much
it would
fun.
be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it looks
Oh, yeah.
like you broke a tie rod end or something there.
I'm thinking the strut tower is pushed in.
The strut itself bent.
No, there you go.
When it bent in, it towed in.
Okay,
yeah.
there we go.
I'm just letting you guys know right off the bat, the perfect use for this now, and this could be for a future video, you do have to cut me in on the royalties. You need turbo 1.6 swaps for both ends, and then both ends get stuck into second gear, clutch dumped at the same time, and then you just like a helicopter.
We've done it a few times.
And I hate you every time you've done it.
It's
It's
motion sickness inducing.
No, you giggle your ass off like a child at a carnival.
I know.
I'm on the other hand getting spun out my eyeballs. My contacts are flying out.
I would just be like giggling and screaming, "You spin me right round," you know?
Yeah. I curse on you a lot after those moments.
Oh yeah. Well, you're still here, so yay.
That's right.
Because you keep me in booze, so it's fine.
Booze is good.
Yeah.
We are having a lot of problems. We've done this figure eight racing quite often, and the biggest weakness we tend to find is U-joints. It's very cutthroat. Everyone goes straight for your wheels, and we kept having one of our shafts popping out of my end. So it's not a matter of more horsepower. It's using it, and it's very much trying to avoid contact at the figure eights. Because before this, for figure eight racing, we had a turbo Jetta diesel.
Oh, I forgot about the Jetta.
Yeah, and it was the slowest thing out there, and it was the heaviest thing out there.
No, the slowest thing we've ever owned was the truck.
Oh yeah,
The S10 or whatever for track racing.
yeah, dirt track racing in an S10
Yeah,
with an Iron Duke.
Yeah, that was sad.
Yeah.
But the funny thing about the two-winded car is we had a lot of people complaining,
Yeah,
like before the races, that it's unfair that we have two engines. And it's like, have you seen this thing? It's like, it's not designed to win races or come in first place or second or third. We just enjoy making asses of ourselves.
oh yeah.
But yeah, the number of people that were complaining about the two-winded was quite hilarious.
It's
They
unfair.
don't realize that
cheating.
you're handicapping yourself.
Yeah, it's like racing Siamese twins. You know, it's like,
exactly.
hey, they have 2 heads and 4 legs. It's like, yeah, but that's not an advantage.
That race that was just shown was the second race of the car. The very first one, Damien graciously gave up his driver's seat and let me race with my father.
Oh, Frank. Yep.
Yeah, and it was an incredible. Like, Frank's always been around and he's helping us and he's fully been supportive of what we've done. But this is the first time we put him behind the wheel, and he had no practice whatsoever.
He was violent.
He was entertaining.
What do you get? I guess he's in his mid 60s.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah, let's go with mid 60s. But yeah, like he was just, I don't know, but he terrified me.
Well, halfway through the second race, he lost his brakes.
Well,
They didn't tell
they
me.
didn't tell you. Yeah, and that explained a lot of the crashes, I guess.
Well, here's my father racing, and I'm backwards, and he's bouncing off every single car and actually passing people. I'm like, wow, Dad's kind of aggressive. Until I realized he didn't have brakes. He was just bouncing off cars. It's not Xbox.
Hey, listen, he's in the late stages of life. You know, you got to just let him have fun.
Oh yeah.
And at that age, back in the day, he probably hit, like back then, you know, there wasn't like negligent manslaughter and vehicular homicide. Like you could smash into people and throw a cherry bomb out and scream "screw you," like, and then finish your booze run. You know, like cops would be chasing you, and if you ran away, that was fine. If they caught you, it was like, don't do it again.
You paint such a glorious picture.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they write songs about this stuff, you know, like.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is a Richard Petty quote.
Yeah. People would just race Cadillacs up Grapevine Hill, and then the cops would pull them over at 110 and be like, "Meh, hot rod Lincoln," you know.
You scream,
Hot
"Do
Rod
it for
Lincoln."
Dale." Hey, fellas, I wanna talk about your latest project real quick because I'm a huge fan and I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys do with it. Producer Nick, would you pull up the most recent episode that they've done on their YouTube channel? This Triumph Herald, 1960 Triumph Herald.
Yes.
I cannot wait for you guys to find a donor Corvette.
I mean, gang.
We did. We did.
Yeah, that whole avoiding death thing. This winter we were bored, and again, you get to start cruising Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace, and little things get your attention. The purchase of what was it? What was the other car? It was a Nash Metropolitan. That fell through.
Ooh. That's too bad because I love a Nash Metropolitan.
Actually, why did it fall through?
He told us to go take up sewing.
Oh, right. He was, but he was.
We lowball people. There's no denying that. We are those horrible people.
No. We do not lowball people. We tell people this nice car that you've had in your family for 50 years, we're going to do stuff with it, and you're going to hate us.
Yeah.
Well, I see all these cars. They're, again, how we search Craigslist is you set it to lowest price first, and you start growing up. Once I hit 4 digits, I'm usually out of interest.
Right.
And we offered that guy, I think, $500 or something for a non-running, no paperwork car, and he told us to pound sand.
But again, that's the big thing. It was no paperwork.
Yeah.
Right. Because I don't know how it is in the States, but in Canada, without paperwork, the car becomes a paperweight.
It's a process. If the car has no paperwork, like an old car, it can take up to 6 months for our insurance company to do a background check. If that background check then turns up stolen or any other issues, you're just plumb out of luck.
Yep.
Right.
They take
that's our experience. Of course, there's people that can do more things, but we're not interested if it's not that easy. But getting back to the Heralds, we found it in October.
Yeah.
And went to see it, and we know nothing about British cars at all. And we have never seen one of these before, and it was adorable. It had great patina. It was full up to the windows, full of car parts, like collections and collections.
We're actually watching you go sort through them right now. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, it's and we still are. Like, there's milk crates and milk crates and milk crates in the shed.
Oh, snow.
Yeah, snow bad. Yeah. But it took the guy 3 months to get the paperwork because he didn't have the paperwork. So here we are biting our nails. We want this car. We want this car. And he finally called us, I think, in mid-December.
Well, whenever this video is of us picking it up.
Yeah. And we picked it up, dragged it home. It's a 1960 Triumph Herald, which is similar to a Spitfire. Similar chassis, same drivetrain. This was a 1960, which is supposed to have a 950cc little four-banger. Mm-hmm. But someone had put in a Spitfire 1.3 liter.
Ooh, a big block.
It's amazing. It had no carburetor on it for at least a decade. The previous owner gave us no history with it. He had it for a decade. And it was seized. And all right, fine. Let's just play with this thing and see if we can bring it to life. And if not, then we'll transplant some other power plant. And lo and behold, we got it running. And it ran pretty good. And legitimately was it 2-3 days ago? We did a road trip.
Yes.
We took it out for a 6-hour round trip, and she did good.
I am impressed. Wow.
I am entirely impressed. And again, this car, going through all the parts, we believe it was last on the road in 1972, 18,000 original miles. We think someone put the big block in the 90s, and then it just sat unloved. We bought nothing for this car except for shocks, and that was just for why not? But it didn't even need them. All the brakes were seized. We just oiled them up. The drums were good. Cylinders, lubed everything up, and this thing runs. And yeah, we did 6-hour round trip, 300 kilometers.
What a deal, you guys!
Oh yeah, we are so happy with this thing.
Slow as hell, though.
Yeah, there's that. So they put the big block in. Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, it still has the transmission and the differential from the itty-bitty motor. So this thing is screaming doing 80 kilometers an hour down the road. What's that? 45 miles an hour?
I think 5.
And we're on the highway, and there's just traffic. There's 20 cars behind us, and we're going through mountains and this and that. And it'll go up any hill at 80 kilometers an hour. It just won't. I don't want to rev it past that. Sure. And we're just driving off the highway on the side, just letting all the traffic by.
And for our American listeners, that's 45 miles an hour.
There you go. There you go. On the highway, doing 45 miles an hour in a car that is slightly bigger than a Festiva.
But it is rear-wheel drive.
It's rear-wheel drive. It has a swing axle, like a Corvair. So you got that awesomeness. 4-corner drum brakes, single brake line. What else?
Efficient.
Single brake line?
Death trap, yeah.
So it's adorable, and we took it off-roading a little bit at the end of the trip. A little bit of a gambler test.
Now, when he says off-roading, there was one point I was filming, and I think you were, climbing like maybe a 60-degree hill?
It's a mountain goat.
It is mountain goat. Yeah. Terrifying, considering the fall at the end of the hill was like 3,000 feet. But,
yeah, it had to make it up to that local lookout point.
Yeah, of death.
Lover's Lurch.
Of death. Yeah.
Well, this thing was built during kind of the British Leyland time, right? 1960. So most of the stuff that was coming out during then was, I don't want to say Soviet inspired, but it was kind of going the same direction. Like, it was a little bit taller than it needed to be, and it was a little bit softer than it needed to be, and could off-road a little more than it probably should.
Oh, exactly.
That's actually a really good point. Never thought of that.
Yeah,
because it kind of looked like a Russian.
Well, the styling, as someone had mentioned, and if you look at it and squint really hard, it looks like a tiny 57 Chevy. It's got a little bit of fins. It's got the little bucket headlights. It's just like 1/4 scale.
It's like
3/4.
It's like if a Chevy Bel Air had a like a loveless relationship with a Fiat 126, and the Fiat 126 got pregnant, and the Bel Air was really not sure what it was going to do, and then this was born, and the Bel Air realized it was a midget, and he just decided,
Moved
you know
to
what?
America.
Yeah, I'm just moving.
You did this to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, he moved to Florida.
I think Game of Thrones for some reason.
It's a bastard child.
This car pulling out right now, it literally looks like it's going, Father, why did you abandon me?
This car is to a Bel Air what like a 76 Celica is to a Mustang.
Yes.
Exactly. That's exactly it. It's
where it's like, is that a really tiny? What the? Oh, okay. Yeah, I see what's going on.
Well, hence my Corvette comment earlier. Let's just turn this thing into a full-on British hot rod. Like a Chevy hot rod. I'm just saying.
I know people would love to do that. It's not what we do. It's
because you would have skills.
Yes, there would be death involved. There will be death involved. Don't get me wrong. It'd be awesome.
Death?
No, death bad. But to hot rod it up would be fun. But it's for right now. It was just a challenge of bringing this derelict back to life. And don't get me wrong. Doing 45 miles an hour on the side of the highway is kind of awesome. Like. I don't want to get it stopped. But you got that story. Hey, I'm cruising, and people give it the thumbs up, and it's got such patina. It's full of rust. All the paint is faded.
I've got
back's rotten.
I've got an idea for you, and this is a long shot. Okay, but you guys have a pretty good YouTube following and whatnot, so maybe you can make this happen. I can't remember the brand, but I think it's Revo makes a wheel with an electric motor in it.
Ooh.
And right now they were marketing it towards like the Civics, and then it's front wheel drive, so they put these two wheels on the back that have these built-in electric motors with a ring gear and stuff, and then a battery pack lays flat in the trunk, but each wheel adds like 30 horsepower, and then it's all-wheel drive. I say you get a hold of them, say here's what I got, and here's what I want to do, and then I'm assuming this car's rear-wheel drive, but you throw some of those on the front end of that thing, you gain an extra 60 horsepower or whatever it is.
Over the 20 it makes now.
Which is probably doubling your horsepower. It's all-wheel drive, and it's super eco-green. And it's going to go viral.
Oh, God.
And boys, if you don't like that, I have a much simpler idea. We find a way to smuggle a wet nitrous kit into Canada for you. And then you just plumb it right in. So you'd have to, there's a little bit of fabrication required. You'd have to do like a, because I noticed you've got double carburetors on those. Are those aren't Makunis, are they?
No, they are SU.
Oh, yeah,
1.25. The car did not come with a functional carburetor. That was in its vast pile of parts, so we couldn't get something to work. And we had to do an 8-hour round trip. These are, I think, 1969 Spitfire dual carbs, what everybody wants, and whatever. We needed something to make it run, and it hauls. It roasts both tires, it gets a little squirrely, and then it tops out at 45 miles an hour. Yeah.
Man, I'm sorry. I think that if you put some real tall race slicks on that thing, some like 15-inch, but then 27-inch tall, that'll take care of your gearing problems. We'll put a little nitrous into it. You'll be trapping 60 miles an hour in a quarter mile, but man, you're going to get there real quick.
So, to make it real simple, we go with a dry nitrous kit. And the install is pretty easy. You'll need a drill bit and a 12-volt power source, and I would use a toggle rather than a momentary, because let's be honest, just like turn it on.
Yeah,
just drain the bottle.
He's true.
We don't wish to commit murder ourselves or automotive destruction.
We'll go viral.
Death threats from all the British car community.
We get those.
They don't like us as it
I'm
is.
sorry. If there's ever a death threat to ignore, really, you know what I mean? Like, hey, well, I'm sorry.
True.
Guess what I just did with your tea? I'm dumping it in the harbor. Oh, yeah, like,
you can say that. We can't.
No, because they're protected.
Whatever.
Hey,
just send them my way. I'll come up with something.
Since we're having a lot of fun making people angry, you guys, I think it's time for our next segment. But before we move on to our next segment, we've got one more thing to taste here. Coy, would you mind grabbing that? Actually, guys, we've got two more things to taste. I have a lot of fun getting Coy to taste things that are not particularly yummy. And one of the things I brought him today, which I do think is going to be yummy, is actually a fizzy eggnog soda.
I'm sorry. Do you think, seriously, that's going to be yummy? Eggnog pop?
Speaking of someone who put eggnog in a needle and shove it in my vein, I am curious to see how this eggnog fizzy tastes.
Okay,
Really, Damien? How do you feel about pumpkin spice?
Horrible.
Oh,
Ooh.
we can't be friends anymore. That's where I draw the line.
Fine.
First, I drew it at the 45th parallel. Now I'm drawing it right here. Okay. Pumpkin spice is the ultimate in spices. It is everything that spices should be put into a freaking latte and then in my belly.
Ask me in October, and I may change my mind.
I buy in bulk in October, and I have a bunker that I put my pumpkin spice into, and then I ration it throughout the year.
If you don't believe us, you have to go and check out our pumpkin spice in the summer day. All right, Coy, what do you think of the eggnog soda?
Well, on the nose, it's pretty good. And then as it hits the palate, it starts to get a little bit of like a laundry soap thing going on. And then finishes with like an extra watery, like when you don't shake up orange juice, and then the bottom you have like the half juice, half orange pea.
Ooh.
That taste. So it starts out good and then turns disgusting. You want to get in on it? I'm sure you'll enjoy it.
He's right. It smells really good.
So it's good to snort, not putting veins.
Oh, yeah, no. Nope. Not a fan. Here you go, producer Nick.
Is that like 100% like natural Saskatchewan sealskin
Eggnog?
fresh squeezed eggs?
It is, yeah.
I don't think eggnog is what you think it is. I don't.
I do whiskey. I don't know what you're drinking over there, but I do whiskey.
All right, so on to the real one. This is called the Real McCoy, fellas. It is a silver rum. We've already had the dark rum, but I'm curious what Coy thinks about the silver rum. And firstly, he's going to have to wash that terrible soap taste out of his mouth.
And cheers, of course.
Yeah, that's more like it.
Yeah. So,
Cheers to that.
cheers to uniting our countries.
Yeah.
Ambassador dog strips.
That's horrible. They're invading us tomorrow.
We should not be.
We should not be ambassadors.
All right, we're moving on. Are you ready, producer Nick? Oh, the link is in my...
Yeah, we're gonna do we always do a Craigslist ad, deal, smoking deal or smoking a doob. and we're gonna get that pulled up for you guys.
Yep.
Yeah, just go up a little bit on. Yeah, producer Nick's pulling it up. We'll get this show on the road.
Do you guys have drifters in Canada? Is that a thing there? Is that a pretty?
Yes.
It's like I asked that, like, do you have horse flies? You know what I mean? Like,
It's something up there.
No, it's a local track. They do drifting.
it's a, but I mean, you have like clapped out 240s driving around with the front bumper that's not there and all that.
Yeah, it's a lot of BMWs as well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the BMW's starting to pick up. Yeah,
it's pretty big here. So,
and I'm hoping that you had a chance to review our Smoking Dealer Smoking a Doob, right?
We glanced over this.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect.
That's all you
perfect.
need.
We do have some points that we discuss.
All right, so we're gonna get this thing rolling. You haven't seen our intro yet, have you? You're gonna love this.
Yep.
Smoking Deal or Smoking a Doobie. I don't know why it just makes me laugh every time.
Sounds like someone's angrily screaming at the ceiling.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, can you go ahead and make that bigger for us, Producer Snake? Folks watching the video, no, we need it like full screen for us so we can read the ad.
So for people listening, not watching, this is a 240 with no front bumper, front exit exhaust.
Mm-hmm. Dual front
exhaust because this has a small block 283 in it. The worst of all small blocks.
Oh, but it's fully built, Coy.
Only 4,500 miles on the rebuilt. So
the car was built with intentions of being a track drag car, but could be daily driven if you want to.
It used to have pop-up headlights, but now he just has sheet metal there riveted down with some LEDs underneath it where the bumper used to be.
It almost looks like it was supposed to be a dirt track car or something.
It looks more like that. And it has a round hole cut in the hood for like a Holley round air filter sticking out.
I mean, it's got the widened steelies. Like, hello, obviously we need those.
Deep dish steelies for sure.
No bumpers, but hey, that's fine. Who needs bumpers?
Yep. And some kind of fiberglass riveted on wide body situation that's not painted.
I do have to admit, he's running Toyo race tires. It looks like R888s on it.
Yeah.
And they're round.
They're super round. I mean, just look, there's almost no weight on there. That balanced really well. Vehicle, that's a plus.
The vehicle is completely gutted for maximum weight reduction, of course.
Yeah.
The car itself runs absolutely amazing and is extremely fast, loud, and fun. Everyone looks your way either to give you a thumbs up or the finger. LOL.
Here's my thing.
Coy.
I think it's becoming clear that this guy, while it's impressive fabrication, whatnot, he cannot weld. Because everything is riveted. I'm seeing rivets everywhere, which scares me because I feel like he may have put rivets in a structural area.
I agree with that. Those zoomy headers are hilarious, though. You have got to give him credit for that.
Yes.
What is the thing? There are parts about this car that I like, but unless the rules are different in the United States versus Canada, one of the first things I noticed was there's no safety, there's no roll cage, there's no back bar, and so on and so forth.
I think it's only got a lap belt.
And only a lap belt.
So
versus, 4 or 5 point harness and so on and so forth.
In America, he said he was looking to do drag racing with it. You do not have to have a cage unless you are running under 11 seconds.
Oh, okay.
So that's the rule here.
I don't think that lap belt only is going to pass, though. Like, he needs to have the factory 3-point in there if he's going to do anything.
Yeah, lap belts have.
Well, is that a 4-point though?
No, there's no back bar and nothing on the A-pillar.
There's nothing going down to the floor or anything there. Okay. Well,
not that we could see.
That's not going to work for sure.
So
he says it could be there. Maybe it's just falling down for.
But if he's using rivets, what's the odds that he's hidden a safety system within the walls of the car?
Yeah,
sure, of
probably
course.
riveted in. And also, he says it's a drag car, but as I look at this picture here, I can see the drift button on the e-brake. So, yeah.
Well, and also Also, the e-brake is way far up, which means that the cable for the e-brake is all stretched out.
Oh, good point. Never thought of that.
Yeah, this thing's been drifted.
So let's see what's going on with the motor. Scroll back up a little bit there, Nick. Lot to the motor, actually. M22 Muncie manual 4-speed. Summit Racing shift kit. Cool. 5125 cams. He's got engine components listed in here. Double roller, timing chain.
I really like those valve covers. Throw that out there. And I'm not going to lie, I've been around cars with the flipped headers like that. I always love it. There used to be guys that autocrossed around me with the 240Zs with V8s in them, and they would just run them straight out the front, and it was always cool.
Custom front-facing exhaust, boys.
But again, you pointed out, Kevin, something as well in the photographs. What was that? It was with the, it was riveted on or something?
But yeah, I think you already hit it where like everything's riveted and nothing's welded.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. We weld everything.
Yeah.
Well, this does
again,
have... This has one welded item, you guys, which is the differential. And listen, the other
JB weld.
Yeah. With a handful of rivets thrown in for good measure.
Yeah.
The thing that really tells you that this is supposed to be a drift car, though, is the Megan racing coilovers.
Megan is a staple of drifters here.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
With the flipped headers, they do that at the local hit the pass track here. Like these guys would all have small blocks or LS1s with the headers flipped like this. And oh my God, is it obnoxious. You can hear him half a track back. Oh, here comes Pete.
But keep in mind, though, these are people that we do.
Oh, they're good people. They're great people.
Don't
But
annoy
I
them
just
too
hate
much.
it.
I want to get banned from the racetrack.
Our cars. We race a motorhome and it's got a muffler still.
True. We race motorhomes. That's a good point.
You know, guys...
Back to the car.
Yeah, that's not obnoxious at all, though. Like, you're just a regular Canadian boy who just always grew up wanting to race a motorhome, and these guys have loud cars that they're racing. Totally out of line.
Maniac.
Totally out of line.
Hooligans.
Well, there are a few cons here, fellas. I mean, as perfect as this car is, there are a few cons. No AC or heat.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't see that coming.
No power steering. Oof.
No power steering?
Unacceptable.
Small dings and dents. I mean, aside from the no front bumper or rear bumper.
And sheet metal covered lights.
And rivets, yeah. In the process of getting the title, great. That means...
That's a 3 to 4 month wait, at least here it is.
That means you won't be driving this car anytime soon.
And like you guys said, your insurance company kind of gets the title work done for you up there?
Yeah, it's completely different. I've had to deal with your DMV once and didn't slit my wrist. but up here, like
slightly better than the IRS.
Yeah. If we want to buy a car, like in our glove boxes usually is where the ownership papers are kept. You get a transfer form. You bring it to the new person. You both fill it out. You then go to an insurance dealership and boom, instantly ownership paperwork done. I can go sell it to someone else the next day.
Yep.
See here, you sign it over if you have the title. If not, you make a bill of sale. And if they have the title, then when the DMV is open, which is super convenient times, which is like 8 to 4, when everybody works. And then basically not at all on weekends, except for like one DMV and like the hood somewhere that you feel like you're going to get stabbed at. And then if you have the title, you apply and you fill out a crap load of paperwork, and a super rude person explains that you didn't sign something quite right, and you do it some more, and then they'll have you a title in 4 to 6 weeks. And if you don't have a title, then you have to apply for a lost title, and then they flip you off and scream at you and just, and then you get a title someday. Like it's like a happily ever after situation. Just like, you'll get the title. Yeah. Sometime in your life, unless you move.
I should stop complaining about ICBC then.
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah, ICBC is awesome in case you're listening to ICBC.
There is one last con to this car, you guys. The owner has not had time to clean or detail.
That's rough. And I feel for this guy because he hasn't got the title because COVID-19 put a damper on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gosh darn virus.
And I mean,
China virus.
people watching the video have probably seen the price by now, but folks who are listening on the podcast have not. This bad unit is available today to be driven next year for the low price of $6,000 USD, which is what, 5,200 Canadian?
Would be about, I think
Pesos.
about 9K Canadian.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Close to 9,000 Canadian.
So, how do we feel? Should we let the guests go
Yeah,
first?
let them go.
Kevin, you go first, and then I'll be honest.
First of all, is this vehicle owner someone that you know, or someone that's going to have us in a ditch tomorrow?
No, to speak your truth, okay? Like,
Truth to power.
yeah, like if Oprah Winfrey was here, talk to her like about this car.
You gotta start crying now.
Me
On the
too, this
inside.
car.
I already am. Now, I look at this car, and without passing judgment too quickly, this looks like something I would have built if I was a drifter 10, 15 years ago. I see this as a kid who had good intentions, worked with what he got, skills he had, and this is the outcome. It's got good parts in it, spent some money, and it probably maybe was a heart and joy project. Worth $6,000? No. To me, anyone, you put your time, your effort, your money into something, that's what it's worth to them. But then you have the hard wake-up call of trying to have someone else pay you what it's worth. Something's only worth someone will pay for it. But looking at this car, deal or doobie, no. This person's going to have a very rude wake-up check. Again, I don't know your markets. I don't know drifting by any means. So
Tell him sorry already, jeez.
Because he spent 80% of the time apologizing.
Yes. I wouldn't buy this, period.
So hard doob. What do you think, Damien?
Props to the person spending the cash and the time, learning to copycat and hold things together versus learning to weld or anything like that. Is it worth $6K? No. If you spend money on something, do not expect to get it in return. To be honest, it was $1,000 US, which is like 9 million Canadian, I guess. It would be better, but 6K? No. To me, it looks like something held together by popsicle sticks and thoughts and prayers. It has no meaning, and if you can get a K or two for it, bravo. Go get drunk and be happy. But anything more than that, I think it's plastic coat hanger and abortion. I don't know. I disagree. I wouldn't purchase it at all.
Because I'll get back to it that I like the spirit of something gutted to go fast. Because that's probably what it is. It's a great toy. When I was in college, I had a V8 Pinto.
In 1850?
Yep, that's right. Okay. And V8 Pinto looked exactly like this. I would almost say. It's horrible, gutted, no interior, two front seats. It was a sedan delivery, kind of cool. But 302, 5-speed, and roast tires. And I had that for 6 months when I sold it. Because I was going to kill myself. Literally. Roasting tires and J-hooks.
But again, you were terrified of killing yourself with Pinto. Either because of speed or the exploding gas tanks.
But could have just got rear-ended. I mean, yeah.
Exactly. But this is someone who's
like a moose would run into the back of it.
Exactly. Also freaking huge. Beaver tail. But this, for 6K, my heart goes out to the person who built it. Because obviously, Canadian, blank, whatever, blah, pretending to be nice, blah, blah. But no, I think it's way overkill for 6K.
All right, Corey.
And one more thing I'd like to point out is I look at the background of all these pictures. This is a car with open headers and an apartment complex.
Yes.
He's probably been told, sell that damn thing, get off the computer, go get a job. Get out of my house, son.
The next time it fires up, it better be rolling onto a tow truck.
Exactly, right? Like
the car is trying to sell 6K. I'm assuming it's a job.
Okay, that's all I got. Carry on.
So my feelings on this are similar to yours, but angrier. I appreciate kind of, this is a cool project, and like you said, I feel like this is a younger guy or somebody that hasn't built up a much skill level yet. But I mean, even though it's not a lot of skill level, he has a running car with a carbureted V8 in it. It's cool. This would be an awesome gambler. He clearly doesn't realize that putting money in, you lose money in a project like this faster than they lost grandparents in Wuhan. It's just, there's 6,000's insane. 3,000, he might find a buyer. This is just crazy overpriced. I would love to drive this car. I don't know. This dude smoked audio. There you go. I don't know what this guy's smoking, but it is something much, much more expensive than a doobie. I mean, something that came through a tunnel from Mexico after it made a lap around the Brazilian peninsula. Like,
he's snorting eggnog soda.
Yeah, he's snorting eggnog soda. That's right.
Yeah, the only thing, the horn's not the only thing that's blowing on this car.
Well, I'm going to tell you guys something. I do feel for him because, again, I'm the guy that had the big turbo Festiva. I'm the guy that had the fully built motor, all-wheel drive Mazda Protege. Actually, where you guys are at, if you know what a Familia GTR is, that's what I essentially built an American version of. So I feel for him. You put a lot of money into this motor. If it has all of the stuff that he says it has, he's easily into it, $6,000 worth of parts. I don't know how much the wide body costs. A friend of ours in a group chat on Facebook is a drifter and was telling us that this actually kind of lands on the edge for him of a smoking deal or smoking a doob. Having said all of that, I mean, it's hard doob. Come on. Let's be real.
This dude needs to figure out what he could make off of parting it out and then price it there.
That is exactly what I was about to say, is you could part this out and get $6,000 for it. That motor, he'll get $1,500 for. The over fenders, he'll get $500-600. 240s are in such high demand down here that any straight body panels he has on it, which I'm guessing are few and far between, he will be able to get a little bit of money for. Hell, he could probably chop that front clip off and sell it because somebody's inevitably going to try to swap theirs out. We have a close friend of ours who needed a whole front clip for his S13 and did it in his home garage, and it was only 3/4 of an inch out of square, and so he could drift to the right better than he could to the left. So there's lots and lots of parts off of this thing that you could get. He would probably be able to part it out and get close to his number as just this rolling junkyard. And here's the other part of smoking deal or smoking a doob. Now that we've established that it's a doob, hard doob, where are we landing on price? Like, what would you pay for this thing? What do you think, Kevin? Let's start with you.
Oh, God. I'm the worst one to ask because I tire everyone.
Makes you the best one to ask. I haven't forgotten about the fact that when we hit triple digits, you're like, it's starting to get a little rich in my blood.
Let's put it this way. You really want this. This is hitting the niche you really want. You want to get in drifting or something, or you want a super fast gambler. This has been up for a month, and you're going to shoot this dude a message. What do you say, and what do you drop on him?
Question. $500.
That's where you start.
Yeah, and probably not budge, because I'm a horrible person.
But I mean, remember, you actually want to get the car.
Well, if I wanted, then it's obviously going to be more. But I'm at a disadvantage where I'm not a drifter, and I don't know these cars, and I don't want a 283, and there's nothing about this I want. So it's arbitrary. If I say I want it, I'll give them $7,000. But honestly, I don't want it. And I would literally drop a couple $100 on anything. I want a Yugo. I want a lot. I want really goofy cars.
You should be a politician.
Just to have something fun with. But this, I dropped $500 on it. To be completely honest, I dropped $500 on a wild ride. Go out for the weekend and try to flog it the next weekend. And we don't do that. Like we've only ever sold one of our projects, Fishbowl. And for the most part, everything is disposable. And in Canada also it doesn't have a title. It doesn't have a title. To be honest, I wouldn't offer any money whatsoever.
The title's an issue, yeah.
Yeah. And it's a Canada thing because it's going to be 3 to 6 months. And you know what? Not interested. get back on Craigslist. So if it had a title, I would pay $500 to be told to go pound sand and someone else would get it. When we get our vehicles, the racing RV. That's a very quick segue. $1,500. The guy wanted $1,500 for an RV that was rotten. Ran great. It was rotten. And I just sent him an email. We're looking for something to do. Hit the pass racing. Dirt cheap. $500. Okay, 12. No, 500. 1,000. No, 500. All right, come get $500. And I feel like a horrible human being, but I'm being honest. Like, he could have been upside down in turn one. Yeah. That's all I got.
True. You apologize. So you be a real politician. I think that's a question.
Yeah, he really skillfully avoided that question and then brought up his own crap and talked about that. Yeah, it was very politician-esque.
That's all I have to say about that.
You have learned a lot.
Now, Damien, you get to be honest.
You Trudeau'd the daylights out of that question.
Yeah. Because this is funny. What you guys don't realize in the video, there's a lot of video that ends up on the cutting floor, as you know. Most of it is me being me. Because in a video, I'm always nice and quiet. So this is my opportunity to be me. It had a title, and it was in Canada. Excuse me. And I wanted a Lego car. AKA, we still have to build on, make it safe, and so on and so forth. I would probably offer $1,500 US for the simple fact that it is a running car, it has good parts, it has good components, and so on and so forth.
It's a good base.
It is a good base to start with. Now, in saying all that, if Kevin and I were looking for a project next week, once we finish the English car, the Herald, what would I suggest offering? For us, to be honest, zero. It doesn't fit into what we do. If I want to strap my ass to something and die in the first intersection, $1,500. Something to make fun videos with and make fun of each other? Zero.
So I can pretty much, I can feel well rested knowing that if you had this car, it would be called Project Suicide Squad.
Exactly. Just better rates, hopefully. And not as much cutting.
What would I call this? I'm going to think of this.
What would 5 to suicide is pretty awesome because I would die in something like that. Is this standard or automatic? It's not automatic, right?
No, it's a standard.
It's standard. Yes. So I would stall, then die a lot.
Yes.
I'm going to be honest. If it was mine, I'd call it a 283SX. That's what I'd go with.
I have no problem with that.
Like, get people like, you mean a 240? But like, no, it's a 283SX.
I kind of dig it, actually. Yeah.
That is a great name.
But to be honest, if we had to give a price point for me, it would not top $1,500. And that's just because I know that we could tear it down, sell it, make money on it. No. That's the only thing.
I like how honest you are, Kevin. You need to take a lesson here. Okay, stop with the apologies. Just get honest.
You know, I also like how
you're fat, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it because you'll just eat that too. You know, just get honest, down and dirty.
What I really like is how you were like, you know, I don't want this guy. He put his heart and soul into it. I'll give you $500. Like, you were like so stepping around his feelings, and then when it came down to money, you're like, yeah, let's see, I got $500. That's that. Can you throw some tires in or something? Because that's a little steep.
That's more.
Yeah.
Yes, I'll take everything they can throw in it.
Yeah. Like, can you sweeten the pot anyway? Like, do you have some PlayStation games or something? Like, just, you know, the kitty's a little. Yeah.
I have to say though, anything that we build, we are always conscious of the.
He's just getting another beer.
I'm back.
Were you trying to hear cat or?
Yeah, hobo.
I'm sure you get it from them. We have a stray cat. We adopted it. We brought it to the vet. We tagged it. So it's our cat now. In case it's vet bills.
You tagged it like with spray paint?
Exactly.
You like
Yeah.
just
Typical is, in case anyone was listening,
no, we did not spray tag cat.
Well, I'll tell you, the homeless people get really angry when you do it to them.
I've heard that, especially in some Canadian cities. Anything that we create, anything that we build, we are always aware that it may disappear the first 15 minutes on the road, as in pulled over and taken from us.
And the other thing too is that we're not interested is because it's someone else's project. Someone's already built it. They put their taste into it, their flavor, their sweat. That's another flavor. But it's their baby, and I have no interest in other people's babies. Like it's always I want to make something our own, destroy it, have our fun, but it's a second-hand project.
That sounds very strange when you say I have no interest in anyone else's babies.
Do you?
In other people's babies?
Yes.
No.
Good.
Okay.
Carry on.
Continue.
they're cute. They can go for a lot of money. So I mean, it's a loose liquid market, but it's something to look into for project money. My take on this, which, while I feel like I was more angry about his price than you guys were, I would offer him a little more. I think the no title part's my biggest hang up, but I feel like, see, I'm not really interested in making this better or putting a cage in it. I just want to strap my butt into this thing and be stupid. So like I want to tempt fate. Like I want death just sitting there like, all right, here's the time. I admit, some of that. So I feel like $2,000, if I feel comfortable, like if I talk to the guy and I feel like it's not stolen, like I would offer him to. But like we said earlier, I'm going to say I want every aluminum rim and wheel and tire and extra part you have for this thing. Fill that hatch full of it. Take me down to 7-Eleven. You're buying me a Slurpee. I'm going to give you $2,000 and then I'm leaving.
And you're walking home.
Yeah. Well,
and the other thing too is we're looking at pictures, and we've always been there where you see a Craigslist ad. This thing runs great. It's an amazing automobile. Then you show up and it's a piece of crap.
It's rust on wood.
Oh yeah, like so many times. Again, when we're dealing with the bottom of Craigslist, you show up and this thing is just rusted out, useless, nothing structural. Way. But again, that's the thing. We're just looking at pictures, and right now, us as car guys, we're assuming the best case scenario. This thing is solid. The steering is straight. The ball joints are good. The rear end is shot. And then there's all those things.
The rear end shot for sure. But I mean,
I was about to say it's got Megan racing components, so they're already blown.
No, I guarantee you get in this thing and it's going to be like riding a jackhammer.
Yeah.
Like it's going to be bad.
So I know this episode is going like super long, but I do have a quick story for you guys. I bought a 240 and it ended up being my wife's car. But of course I had to get rid of the welded diff and the Megan Racing coilovers that were on it because they were total garbage. So I found a dude on Craigslist that was willing to swap the Megan Racing garbage for stock springs. And actually I think it was like KYB Blues. It was not, they were good shocks in these factory or struts in these factory springs and top hats and everything. And I was like, yeah, I'll trade you straight across. The dude was kind of a shade tree mechanic, so I said I'm going to drop my car off, go to work, I'll pick it up after work. He did the whole thing and did a beautiful job. I was very happy with it. He was happy with it. Maybe 4 days later, he sends me a text and he goes, hey, did you know that these Megan Racing shocks are blown? And I texted him back and I said, bro, those were blown when they were on the boat coming from China. And he just texted me back, fair enough. And I never talked to him again. That was that. God.
They're Megans. Like, what are you going to say?
Yeah, no, they're already blown from the factory. Like, it's not a fault, it's a feature. You have to understand this. All right, guys. I'm actually landing about the same place Coy is. I'd give him $2,000. I wouldn't feel good about it. My wife would hate me, but I think it probably could be parted out for more than that. So I'm going to land right there. The whole missing title thing, that is an issue, but at the same time, it's not too much of an issue because
it's going to get more airtime than a skateboard at the X Games.
Realistically, I have so many buddies with clapped out 240s. I could probably just buy a dashboard and a title off of somebody for $250, swap it out, and just be rolling.
That's cool. We cannot do that.
Oh, you can get away with.
Oh, you can't.
Allegedly, you could do that here. I've never done it personally.
No, you can't do that here. I'm saying like if I was in Mexico, I would do that.
Just saying, I didn't have an 83 Toyota pickup that I did that to because that would be illegal.
No.
Yeah.
My 1990 Protege definitely didn't have that. Definitely didn't have that.
A possible crew cab Ford pickup truck with one odd blue door.
Oh, they know what's going on.
It's long.
No. We're talking about global news. Yes, there we go.
Of course.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Well, hey, that was Smoking Dealer, Smoking a Doob. Hard Doob, go ahead and do our outro, which is ironically the intro for Smoking Dealer, Smoking a Doob. Producer Nick. Smoking Deal or Smoking a Doobie. And there it is, folks. Smoking Dealer, Smoking a Doobie. As always, let us know if we're way off base here. If you think this thing is worth $500, send us a message. Let us know. Tell us that we're way off base. I don't think we are. I think we're right in the ballpark it needs to be. But please do prove us wrong. Send us your comments, your thoughts, your whatever, your drift tax. I don't know. You know, the 240 kids, hopefully they come out in force and tell us that this thing needs to be, you know, bought and paid for because it's a deal. And then the guy trying to sell it is going to get a little money and move on his way. That's the funny thing about this, fellas. We make fun of people's cars and then they sell.
Well, that's the thing. It's, we can joke and we can jest, but we offer no ill will towards anyone selling or purchasing any audio.
I do. Oftentimes I do.
We have to say this line.
Oh, okay.
When you're bored, you get a
I don't want to be lumped in with that. Like I have actual spite and vitriol for some of these Smoking Deals, Smoking a Doobs.
Yeah, he does. And I like the fact that we're going to get off of here and you guys are going to be like, wow, what a couple of redheaded knobs.
Well, one of you has. Okay, sorry.
I shave my head because it's cool, not because I'm bald.
There you go.
I
bald,
shave
that's okay.
my toupee perfect.
Hey, fellas, why don't you let everybody know what your links are, where they can find you, and what you might have going on for the rest of 2020.
Okay, so
Hiding in the basement?
Yeah, 2020, that's a complete unknown right now. But for finding us, Dog Strip, we're basically on YouTube. Dog Strip is spelled DAWG Strip. One word. It's on YouTube and Facebook. It's got a little page there. We're not the best of self-promoting, but we typically try to put out a video once a month. For 2020, we hope there's going to be some more figure eight racing with the double car.
And more trips as well.
Oh yeah, road trips.
Because road trips I enjoy. You enjoy racing. I just enjoy getting drunk.
I want to race the motorhome again for Hit the Pass.
Hey, fellas, if you ever want to do the OG Gambler, that's actually right.
That was on our list to do this year.
Yes.
We've always wanted to do the OG. It's like amazing goal, and scheduling just never worked. This year it did, and this year the borders are closed.
Yeah.
So we will have to see.
Yeah,
it is on our list to do because it seems like absolute insane and fun, enjoyable.
Well, let's get together. If you guys decide to do that, you get a hold of us.
It's right in our backyard.
Yeah, we're local to it. So, yeah.
Awesome. Do you go to it as well?
I haven't yet because I was actually invited to it was just called the Gambler because it was the only one at the time. There's like 20 guys that did it. And then we were like, yeah, we're going to do this because it was kind of a GPS competition then, and that's something I've done a lot of. And we were really excited about doing it. Then one of the dudes made a video that went viral. And once it hit like for sure 300 people going, me and the guy that were going to do it was like, that's a lot of people. And then now it's in the thousands. Yeah. And it was kind of scary for me then, but now we're looking to put together a car because I'm almost certain the Forest Service is not going to shut it down, whereas I thought they would originally.
Yeah. And I just haven't done it because I'm a responsible adult.
You think that weird?
Yes, I agree.
I appreciate that, my friend. We need to we need to leave on that note right there. Gentlemen, thank you so much. Kevin and Damien from Dog Strip. Make sure you go and check out what they're doing. It's again DAWG. STRIP on YouTube. That's where all their stuff goes up. They just posted, what was it, a week ago was the Triumph Herald.
Yeah, bringing the Herald back to life from its 30-40-year slumber.
Go and check that out. It's a fascinating video. All the stuff that they do is super entertaining, so make sure you go and check that out, you guys. Once again, thank you so much, gentlemen. I appreciate it, and I look forward to talking to you real soon.
Awesome. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you for having us. Be safe and chat again.
Thanks so much, you guys. See ya.
Good night.
Cheers.
And there they go, Coy.
There they go.
That was pretty cool, huh?
Yeah. No, I'd love to do a gambler with these guys.
I would love to have some of the project cars that they do. Wow.
Yeah.
It's like seriously dream goals there. I don't know how they pull it off. Well, like they said, though, Kevin was saying, he just basically goes to Craigslist and goes, what's less than $500?
You know, I've been there too, but I'm assuming these guys aren't married or have like really understanding wives.
Extraordinarily understanding wives.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's
husbands. We don't judge. Yeah. They're Canadian. We don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Coy, who knows? We didn't ask.
They know. You know, that's only they know.
That's the important part is they know. You know what I know, though? I know that we couldn't do this without the good folks out there listening and watching. So I want to personally thank each and every one of all three of you who listen to this show. I do appreciate that.
We love our listener.
I'm joking. We're about to break through the 3,000 download barrier since we switched over to Spreaker a couple months ago, which I greatly appreciate. It means you guys are absorbing this info, and I really do appreciate that. It feels like I have a bunch of children running around out there, because I'm giving of these bits of myself, and I know people are carrying it.
Yeah, people have to listen to me whether they like it or not. I will be heard.
Yeah, exactly.
My voice will be inside you.
Coy always wanted to be inside of you. That's
surprise.
And on that note, Coy, thank you for joining me, my friend. Appreciate you. Producer Nick, thank you very much for being here. Boys at Dog Strip, make sure you go and check them out. They're doing some really cool stuff. I'm really impressed with them. And thank you once again for tuning in. Thank you for telling a friend about what we have going on here. So for producer Nick, Coy, the boys over at Dog Strip, this is Andy. We will see you next time.